Algebra 2 EOC review. This is part 2 of the review on radicals, rational exponents, and polynomials. So in your notes packet, we are looking at page 10, which is, and we're going to work, well, now we're going to go to the pretest packet and work number 6. So we need to draw a line from each function on the left to the equivalent form of the function on the right. So not all the ones on the right will be used. So one thing that we can do with that first function is we can multiply. Just FOIL those out. And we see that that matches with our first choice. Now let's try that with the second one. So I'm going to multiply that x minus 5 squared and then subtract the 49. And then I look and I see that I don't have that as a choice. But I do see an answer choice that looks like that it has been where I've completed the square. So I'm going to complete the square. I'm going to, well, first I'm going to try to factor that. Oh, and then I do have a pair that is factors, because negative 12 and positive 2 will multiply together to give me negative 24 and add to give me negative 10. Sorry. All right. So now our third one, I'm going to factor that. Two numbers that will multiply to give me positive 2 and, negative 24 and add to give me positive 2. And then I look and I don't have a factor pair that matches with that. So now with this one, I'm going to try completing the square. So I'm going to move the 24 over. Now I subtracted the 24, but I actually should have added that. So I caught my mistake right there. Then to complete the square, you take half of the b value and square it, which I did on the right side of that line, and that becomes 1. I added 1 to both sides, left and right of the equal sign, and then I factored the right side. And so that should be x plus 1 squared. There we go. Now I'm going to subtract that 25 over, and I can see that that matches with the choice that's right across. All right, now go to your notes packet and look at this number 14, okay? So we need to select the box that matches the standard form of each quadratic equation to its corresponding vertex form. So I'm taking the vertex form and I'm going to multiply it out and see what the standard form is. I've numbered them. So there's number 1. When I square x minus 3, I get x squared minus 6x plus 9, and then I'm going to add the 4 on the end. So I get that, which is my second choice. Now with equation 2, I get x squared minus 6x plus 9 minus 4. Combine that and I get the last choice. With the third one, and when I multiply that out, I get x squared plus 6x plus 9, and then I add the 4 on, so that's my first choice. And then finally, x squared plus 6x plus 9, subtract the 4, and that is the last choice, which again didn't show. So there we go. All right, now go back to your notes packet and look at that page. So synthetic division, this is a shortcut for dividing polynomials. So this example is dividing that polynomial by x minus 3. So if what you're dividing by is in an expression, you're going to use the opposite sign of the number. So in this case, 3. So if you look at step 1, notice we've pulled the coefficients off of that expression, negative 1, 4. There is no x term, so we put a 0 in, 9, and then 3 out. Step 2, you bring down the first number. You multiply that number out front by it, and then put it up underneath the second term, then you add. So you multiply diagonally and add vertically. So when we get that, the last number is our remainder. If there's no remainder, then the polynomial you are dividing by is what we call a factor. So go to number 16 in your pretest packet. Which are the factors of the polynomial? So if you try to factor that polynomial, it will not factor for you. So what we're going to do is take each of those numbers and use synthetic division to check. So that would be positive 4, positive 2, 1, negative 2, and negative 4. So we take the coefficients of the polynomial, 1, 5, 2, and -8, and then out to the side we place a 4. We bring down our first term, multiply diagonally, and then add vertically. So when we continue with that pattern, we can see that our last number is 144. That is our remainder, so that means that x minus 4 is not dividing evenly. So I x'd out that choice. So now we'll do the same method with 2. So you pause the video and do it, and then check. I got a remainder of 24, so that is not a factor. Now let's try it with 1. I got a remainder of 0, so x minus 1 does divide evenly into that polynomial. Now let's try -1. That one does not divide evenly because we have a remainder of -6. Now try -2. So we do get a remainder of 0 with -2, so that one's a factor, and F. Now in a problem like this, you can take your time and try out each of the answer choices. The EOC is not a timed test like the ACT, so you can take as much time as you need. All right, so that concludes part 2 of the Algebra 2 EOC review on radicals, rational exponents, and polynomials.